Let's go to question number 9. Kaylee Witten says, could the Holy Spirit be feminine? A biblically sound, wiser, older Christian in my life is unsure about this. He brings up decent arguments affirming this view, but then there's John 15:26. Thoughts? I started some notes. I wanted to do a video on this one of these days, and I started some notes a long time ago on the topic, trying to look at all the different debates. I'll look at the passage that you're mentioning here in just a second. And I never finished the notes. It's just one of those mini projects that I like started and didn't finish. So Kaylee, maybe one of these days I'll do something more detailed on it. Let's look at John 15:26, and I can see what you're thinking of here. Yeah. So when it comes to like feminine and masculine terms refer to the Holy Spirit, it is complicated because the word spirit, the Holy Spirit, is not a masculine term, if I recall correctly. I'm going to look at this up. So spirit, pneuma, is a neuter term here, at least. But we have to understand something too, is that in English, we usually assign gender to a term on occasion because gender is important. But in other languages like Spanish, Greek, gender is assigned all over the place, and it's not always indicating the gender of a person. But when it is indicating the gender of a person is when you refer to them as he will do this or she will do that. And here's one example that you bring up that's very good, where the Holy Spirit is explicitly referred to with a male gender. So he will bear witness of me. This word, or he will testify of me. That's one word in the Greek. He will testify, ekenos, and it is masculine, right? It's a masculine term. That matters. If the Holy Spirit was intended to be feminine, if we were supposed to think of the Holy Spirit as feminine, you would not have a masculine term. It's not like, and then Deborah was a judge of the land, and he did a good job. You don't see that happen. There's a lot more to be said about this, and maybe one day I'll do like a longer video on the topic. The Holy Spirit, there's some people who will try to appeal to like these sort of motherly metaphors for the Holy Spirit, or God using motherly metaphors. Paul even does this of himself. He's like, he has like a motherly affection, I think is the term. I'm trying to remember the verse now. It escapes my mind. Jesus talks about gathering Jerusalem as a mother hen gathers her chicks. And so people will try to be like, this is divine feminine language. And I think this is a really garbage argument here. Yes, God is speaking of motherly love. This is not to suggest that God should be thought of as a mother. There's a difference between these things, right? Clearly, God indicates he's a father, and consistently. So if there's a motherly terminology referred to Jesus, who's clearly male and intentionally male for lots of reasons, then we should grant that and know that just a metaphor or a feminine like analogy does not make somebody female. That's just part of our culture's obsession with reversing gender stuff that we're currently going through, and so we tend to get weird about that. So yeah, there's short answer, Kaylee. I know there's a lot more that can be said about this. I'd be interested to hear the other arguments that this person has. I think that the people I've met who've talked about this, they don't usually mean to disrupt something. They're not trying to cause trouble. It's more often they think that they're being progressive in the positive sense of like being inclusive in the positive sense of like, oh, I just want people to see the fullness of God and his love. And I think women should be able to identify with God too and all this. And I want those things too. But I don't want to unintentionally stumble forward into this gender bending attitude that we have in our culture. And so the Holy Spirit is more, it doesn't fit a feminine label. I think that that's inappropriate. Even though there's other ways you can say there's feminine terminology sometimes used or metaphors sometimes used, but that doesn't make someone feminine.